What's up guys, it's Prod by Circles and I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be on arrangement in your beats and how you can flesh them out a little bit more. These are just some neat little tips and tricks you can do to make your beats a little bit more full and have a little bit more variety to them. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded and I'm sorry about that, but I've just been really busy with school and I'm going to start trying my best to upload weekly like I said I would. So before the video starts, go over and follow my Instagram at Prod by Circles. That's where I post any updates about anything that's going on with me. Also go check out my second channel, the links for both of these will be in the description. That's where I post my beats, so if you're a rapper looking for beats or you're a producer just looking to see what I'm up to, or just, I don't know, if you're looking for something to listen to, go over there and that's where you can find my music. So another thing that I want to cover really quickly is I've been working on a project and it's dropping next weekend. It's called the Spectrum Loop Kit. It's got 10 loops, it'll be $9.99 US, and it's dropping next Sunday at 2 o'clock Australian Western Standard Time. I've been working really hard on putting these loops together and I think I ended up doing a really good job. They're really high quality. Here's a teaser for the kit.
Got you spinning round in a circle.
Let me know if you guys like that. Just again, that'll be releasing next weekend, so be ready. Now I guess we should just get into the video. So I made a little beat before the video started for this. Here's what that sounds like. And then with everything when it comes in. So I'm just going to deconstruct this really quick, deconstruct how I've arranged it before we move into the arrangement tips. So, this beat's pretty standard. It's got some chords, a top melody, and then a background whistle sound. Then for drums, hi-hat, general hi-hat pattern with hi-hat rolls, snare, normal snare pattern, a little perk, just a percussive sound to fill in some of the blanks, a pretty basic 808, and the 808 is laid with a kick. So the way I've arranged it is pretty standard. This is what I normally do. It's got an intro with just the chords. Then the chorus comes in. The chorus has the chords, the top melody, hi-hat, snare, and 808. Then immediately after that, it comes in with the whistle, the percussive sound, and the kick. These come in to make the chorus feel a little bit more refreshing because 16 bars, if it's all the same, it can get quite boring for the listener. So it just brings in a few extra elements, and that's the only point of the beat where everything is in at once. Then right after that, it moves on to the verse. Verse is 24 bars. It just drops out a few elements. It drops out the top melody, it drops out the whistle, it drops out the kick, and it drops out the perk. Then it comes in with almost everything except for the whistle. And then after that, it's just the melodies. That's to give it a little bit of a break before it moves back into the chorus and kind of an indicator that that's what's happening. One of the first things you can do is add a few separate instruments that only play a minor role but still end up refreshing the beat a little bit. So one of the ways you can do that is you can add a snap or a clap or a rim shot just to alternate with your snare or your clap that you've chosen. So from KBZ's Trap Galaxy Volume 2, I've chosen this snap. I'm just going to drag it in, make a new pattern, and I'm going to copy the snare pattern into the new... Oh, my pattern went away. Just going to copy and paste the snare pattern into the new snap. So that's what that sounds like. Now one of the places you can put that snap is, where I'm going to put it, is right after the chorus. Because right here, it feels like the snare is still hitting really hard, considering this is meant to be a bit of a break. So I'm going to add the snap here. Just makes the beat feel a lot more chilled before the drums come back in the second part of the verse. The next thing that I would advise you do is in this little break part here, if you're arranging beats this way, one of the things you can add is a synth bass. I'm going to add a synth bass from Electra X because I know it's got a lot of really good ones, even just stock ones. Here. So, this isn't only good here though, this can also be used for intros and outros, and any break segment like that. Just places where there's no drums. But you can obviously put it wherever you want, but that's where I usually put it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the 808 pattern by Command C, go to my new pattern, go to the Electra X, Command V to paste, and then Command down. Now one thing you might have noticed is it's still the length of the 808, so what I'm going to do is hit Command L to connect all the notes. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that just adds a really dark vibe to this part of it, and it really does kind of get you ready for the chorus to come back in. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen next? It's just a little bit of an interesting switch up. So right after the drums. Another small thing you could do here to make this segment a little bit more interesting is just copy and paste the snare and the hi-hat and make it 4 bars. The 4 bars before this comes in. It's just a little bit more of a build up into the chorus. So I'm just going to add these where I want them. I'm going to put the synth bass in the intro. I might make it a little bit quieter still. And then I'm also going to add this hi-hat and snare part right on the other verse as well. And I'm also going to put the synth bass there because I forgot earlier. Okay, so those are just some quick little changes you can make to some quick little instruments you can add that take basically no effort, that are just copying and pasting patterns you already have, that can make the world's difference and can really give you a track like more space to breathe and just a little bit more subtle variation that's interesting to the listener. So now what I'm going to do from here on is I'm just going to add some sounds. We're done with patterns. I'm going to go for things like crashes, like rises, that kind of thing. I'm going to head on over to my Cymatics Cobra kit, Cobra Hip Hop sample pack, and I'm going to grab a crash. And I'm going to put this, so the purpose of this crash is just to hit on the chorus when the drums come in, and it just gives it a little bit more of a punch when it does come in. And the longer crashes feel good as well because they kind of fade out a little bit and it just sounds nice, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to put that in front of, or on the first beat of all the choruses when the drums come in. And then I'm also going to add a riser just between the different sections. So I'm going to add a riser here before the chorus on all 3 choruses, and I'm also going to add it right into the segment here with the synth bass. just so it's a little bit less of a sudden change and it's more subtle. So I'm going to head over to, I don't know, let's just browse. This will do. It's like a backwards air noise. That also needs to be way quieter. And I'm probably also just going to take out a little bit of the start of the sound. So now I'm going to align that properly. So one thing you can do now is, just so that it's not a sudden stop to the riser, you can go over here and click generic bleeding. And you can't, I don't know why it's not showing it, but it normally adds like this little bit of a tail, so it kind of fades out towards or after the sound ends. It's just a subtle thing, but it helps. Now I'm just going to put this in place for all three of the choruses. Okay, so that's the riser. Now I'm going to find a different riser to fade into the synth bass part. Ooh, that's like a reverse open hat. That could work. Oh, that is not what that is. Okay. There's the reverse open hat. Okay. So do the same thing, add generic bleeding. I'm going to align it a little bit better. So you can hear it towards the end when it fades into the next section. You can hear the actual cymbal a little bit. I'm just going to add the same thing on the other verse. There we go. Okay. So this is pretty good, but there's one major thing that's missing, and that's the part that every single part of this beat is just an 8-block chunk, except for this little bit we added here earlier. Everything else is just an 8-block chunk. So one of the ways you can get around that, or an 8-bar chunk, one of the ways you can get around that is by adding little stops and starts to the instruments, so parts come in at different times. So I'm going to keep the choruses where they are because I've added the cymbals and the risers, so I don't want to change any of that now. But one of the ways you can do this is, let's say immediately after the chorus, just to fade it into this bit a little bit better, or to transition it a little bit better, is you can have it so it starts on one of the snares, or the snaps. I might even stop this 808 until here. So I'm just going to stop it so that the snap happens, and when the 808 hits, the hi-hat comes into. Or I might just wait till the second 808. So that sounds sick. So that's a nice little transition there. So I think that's pretty cool. Another little transition I like to do pretty often, that's one of them. But the other one is, I'm going to do this at the end of the synth bass section. I like to take, for the last little bit of the top melody or the chords, I like to just take everything out right before the drums hit. So let's try this. Maybe it would be better here. Let's try. No. Okay, that might work, but if I take out the snare... Nope. I'm going to align everything. There we go. That's how I want it. So I'm going to add that same bit of variation to the other side. So that's another way of providing a smoother transition between the two sections. Now we get to the fun parts. So what I'm going to do here, this is something that you hear a lot in NLE Chopper songs, is where you'll take a part of the beat when it comes in. I'm going to take this part, for example. and you copy a little bit of it down, and then you paste that before the rest of it comes in. So I'm just going to copy that and then re-extend this. So here, I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, where I did like a little bit of a stop and start. Okay, so it kind of sounds to me like that's missing a beat there, so this is a great way to fix that. Is you take this little bit that you've copied, or what I can even do is just copy this part here and then shorten it down. So you hear that a lot in NLE Chopper songs, and I think it works really well, especially when you start to experiment with adding more and more and more of them. Like NLE Chopper, like his beats do it a crazy amount, and it's insane. Like, especially when it's pulled off well, but this is a really minimal way to do that. I think it works really well there. And I might add one more somewhere else. I just did that here because I haven't changed this part. But for this part, I'm also going to do that thing I did earlier, where I take the last bit of where the melody plays and just cut out the drums for that. So this is what that sounds like here. And I think that works really well, those two comboed together, because it gives it this huge gap here where it's just not a lot happening. And it gives it another sort of a mini break in between the rest of the beat. So the other place I might do that, I'm going to try it on the chorus and see how it does. I'm going to do it here, in the middle of the chorus. On the last chorus. Okay. So I'm going to take this little snippet and make a third one. Alright, you'll see what I'm doing in a minute. That's exactly how I wanted it. And I would say that's the beat done. Now the beat has a lot of interesting variation and sections and transitions, and it's just a lot more full. It's a lot more of a complete beat. I think that this is a lot better of a beat than when I started, and I'm also going to be releasing this beat for free, so you'll be able to download that in the link in the description. Any rappers who are watching this video, you'll be able to download this beat and use it for profit. So that's basically it. I'll play the beat for the outro. I just wanted to thank you guys for watching the video, and I just want to say I'm going to be trying my best to upload a lot more consistently. I know I had to re-record this video like 17 times because I have like the most ghetto filming setup ever, but that's probably part of the reason why I get discouraged to film videos, but I'll be doing my best. I've really been putting my heart into producing and getting my page up and doing more stuff on my website and actually contacting rappers and trying to get placements and that kind of thing, so just know that I'm not being lazy. I am doing a lot of work, just not in the YouTube aspect. Not on this channel anyway, but I will be doing my best to do more. That's all I've got to say. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Got you spinning round in a circle.